Headshot's flight begins as any other. A group of Blenheim bombers is requesting a fighter escort for their run to a target, and several Spitfires quickly form up to rendezvous with them. The Blenheims are flying low to avoid detection, so the Spitfires cruise in just above the ground and water as well. As the flight begins to approach the target, the German anti-aircraft batteries open fire on them. Tracers streak past, and flak explodes, too close for comfort. The flight charges straight through the enemy fire and screams towards the enemy, bombs armed and guns at the ready. Buildings crumble and vehicles blaze, but it is not enough to complete the objective. The German AA guns turn the sky into a firestorm over the area, determined not to let the flight have another pass. As they turn to fly down the throat of the enemy guns again, one finds his mark, shredding part of Headshot's left aileron. As they make the second pass, he flies down with the bombers and presses the trigger. 8 machine guns lash out, tearing a line down the surviving enemy vehicles and completing the mission objective. Takes a high perch over one of the bombers that was damaged by the German guns and keeps a close eye while the bomber makes its way to the next objective. The sheer amount of incoming fire is daunting, to say the least. As the target streaks by, he sees that the bomber's tail has been heavily damaged, and shortly after, the German guns find their mark again, causing the Blenheim to plunge to the ground while he takes another hit, damaging the underside of his right wing and flap. Headshot's plane is damaged and the flight is scattered. He turns for home, but as he approaches the coast, he looks at his watch, not the one in the sim, and realizes that he doesn't have time for another sortie. He decides to try stir up a little trouble on the way and make his flight count as he turns back down the coast. Shortly after, trouble finds him as a group of German AA guns spots his damaged plane. Hot lead flies past, and all he can do is hope that he is not brought down. He gets lucky and continues down the coast, scouting out enemy airfields for signs of activity. Suddenly, he sees a trail of dust. It is a telltale sign of a landing aircraft, and he reflexively swings the Spitfire around to investigate. As he approaches, he sees a Ju-88 bomber just back from bombing his homeland and knows that he cannot allow that plane to get airborne again. The enemy aircrew doesn't stand a chance. He loops around for one more pass to ensure the enemy plane is beyond repair. Heading further up the coast, he notices some far flak and a few spots circling each other on the horizon. A friendly Spitfire is in trouble, and without a second thought, Headshot brings his damaged aircraft around to lend aid, but he is too late. As he streaks past the burning wreckage of the Spitfire, he spots the 109 that sent him in. Before the 109 can even get excited about his victory, Headshot makes an opening pass and lets the German know that the fight is far from ending. The German pilot begins to yank his stick hard to roll and bounce around the sky, trying to throw the Spitfire off. Headshot knows that his damaged plane isn't responsive enough to follow the maneuver, so he throttles back and simply keeps his plane pointed in the general direction of his adversary. Finally, the German pilot makes a critical mistake and brings himself straight into Headshot's gun sight. The 109 reactively climbs, trying to force Headshot to lose him in the sun. Then another Spitfire lays into him. As they come out of their climb, the 109 manages to get onto Headshot 6 and nearly shreds his aircraft even more. 20mm cannon rounds streaking by mere feet away as the combatants begin to circle for position. The 109 goes skyward yet again. Headshot pushes his throttle through the gate and pitch setting to the wall. His engine surges with raw power and buys him just enough time in the climb to line up for another shot before stalling out. As he tumbles out of the sky, fighting for control, he sees the enemy plane try to put down for a crash landing, but Headshot wants revenge for the fallen Spitfire. 160 rounds per second burst through the 109's airframe and cockpit before it can even come to rest. He knows there are other 109s around and decides to try sneak out and head for home. He flies low, hoping his camouflage will help him remain undetected, but he's not to be that lucky. Unknown to him, another 109 comes to return the favor for his fallen wingmate while hiding in the line of the horizon. In his zeal, the German pilot fires early, warning Headshot of the doom lurking just behind him. Plumes of water spray up and Headshot pulls hard on the stick to try and evade the following rounds. The 109 knows he has the advantage and takes his aircraft into a steep climb, lining up for another pass. Cannon rounds clip his tail as the 109 pulls skyward yet again, hoping for a repeat performance. It does not come to pass. Headshot demands every bit of power his engine can muster and pulls his crippled aircraft towards the enemy. The German pilot ends his climb and on the way back down to pounce, instead sees tracers park up into his own aircraft. The German pilot desperately tries the same maneuver, but as he comes down, the climbing Spitfire hits him even harder, then pulls onto his 6. Headshot takes a few pot shots to try scare his adversary into braking instead of running for home, and the ploy rewards him with not only hits, but a turning 109. One more salvo, the 109's tail bursts into flame. The German pilot is too low to even try to bail out. As the 109 splashes down, Headshot once again turns for home, but before he is even lined up, he spots yet another enemy aircraft blazing towards him at high speed. Headshot responsibly pulls into his attacker, and the 109 takes his speed and goes skyward. He dives but can't quite cut the turn and quickly goes into another climb, but miscalculates and stalls his plane. The 109 tumbles out of control while Headshot circles in for the kill. He takes a long-distance shot to try scare the 109 into turning and actually scores hits. The 109 starts to try to throw him off and both planes go into a high-speed, rolling, climbing knife fight at point-blank range, both pilots locking eyes as they spin around each other through the sky. The German tries to make one more pass but can't cut the corner, then decides to run for home, much to Headshot's relief. He knows his Spitfire only has about a second's worth of ammo left before he runs dry. Headshot follows for a few seconds to make sure the German is running when yet another fighter dives in. Thankfully, this is one problem that takes care of itself. He finally sets in a course for home and checks his fuel gauge. He sees that he is running on fumes, but if he flies gently, he should be able to make it. Suddenly, another contact appears and Headshot breaks away. Instead of an enemy plane this time, it turns out to be a friendly Spitfire, but the aggressive maneuver causes his fuel-starved engine to start sputtering. It does not recover, even though it shows a small amount of fuel remains. After everything that happened, Headshot realizes that he is going to have to prepare for a water landing. At least he is close to home and the other pilot can hopefully report his location.
Approximately aircraft in sector London. Attention, enemy crew. Aircraft in sector Monkey. Heading 330, altitude 2.5.